To the 7,000 that is possible right now?
Well, no. What is possible right now may be more than 7,000 because a lot of NIPP have not been commissioned. The installed capacity is over 10,000 megawatts.
Okay.
What about the transmission?
Yeah, I'm coming back to that. No, there are transmission projects too. There are, I think, 100 high voltage transmission projects in the NIPP. The issue is how far have they been implemented? No, there is a great master plan to evacuate 10,000 megawatts. You remember the committee set up by President Obasanjo? They've done a lot of wonderful work. And I believe for sustainability, so that we can have reliable supply of electricity, which is affordable also, we need to sustain the implementation. And I think that is very key. That is not saying you cannot initiate new projects. Personally, I don't think the government should get involved in building new power plants. You understand? But the state government, I'm talking of the federal government now, but the state government could support power projects in their region.
Through the what, off-grid method?
Well, there is a national policy of distributed generation right now. Although that has its own problem because you have to realize that the government institutions to facilitate power production and supply, they are basically two. The Ministry of Power and the regulatory agency.
Yeah. Prof, sorry to interrupt your thoughts there, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that as a Saturday we generated 7,000 megawatts but could not evacuate all of that.
That's correct.
You say that this is a problem with gas.
33% of that problem is gas.
Exactly. So one would imagine that gas is only needed when we're talking about generation, not about evacuating the power that has been generated.
No, when you generate,
you
have to put it on the transmission network for it to get to the discos.
Yeah.
You understand? So if you are not able to generate for one handicap or the other, what you put on the grid will be inadequate for the discos. I have a lot of compassion for the discos. They are not getting the amount of electricity they should be giving people. They have their own problems, like ability to maintain the cash flow and things like that. But then they are not even getting the amount of electricity they plan they should be getting in their business plan.
So were you talking about the installed capacity of those GenCos then, or were you talking about what they actually generated that weekend but could not evacuate?
What they actually can generate. For example, if you have a power plant, and for one reason or the other, the gas is not adequate, like it happens to most of the NIPP, you can only run a few turbines. The rest, you keep them dormant. But if there is more in terms of gas supply, you put them on. So that means that you have more turbines that are available that can be made to work.
But because of a lack of gas, they were not able to work.
Yes.
So just wondering, though, what then are your thoughts on this embedded generation? People are saying maybe that's the way we should go. This is rather lengthy for us.
Yeah, it's okay, but, unfortunately, we have a very weak regulatory agency. There are a lot of things they have to be proactive about. Embedded generation or distributed generation means that the generation by any customer or a power plant onto the distribution system level, not transmission. So, and that has implication. The guidelines, there is supposed to be a distribution code. I've looked at it, but it has not been upgraded since the previous set of commissioners. We need to determine what is the optimal level of embedded generation that can be accommodated in a network. Otherwise, it creates instability. That's one aspect. The other aspect has to do with safety, which is a technical issue. The mere fact that we allow for embedded generation means there is a two-way directional flow of electricity. Hitherto, electricity is supplied from high voltage 330 to 132, 33, 11, till it gets to your house. Now, if you allow me to have a distributed generation, and I can have a feed-in into the network, it means that while that is coming, I can also be going in the opposite direction. The implication for safety is that if the people in the network, if there's no clear guideline, if they are operating, maintaining, especially the maintenance people, you switch off at your end, you are maintaining a line. All of a sudden, electricity is coming in the opposite direction. You get electrocuted. And I believe some of those are happening right now. And it's a reflection that the regulatory agency is not educating people. They are only focusing on consumer issues, which have their origin in technical issues.
We're out of time on this, but it would be nice for you to tell us very quickly, if you will. We have so many power plants already, and we have so much that the government have done over time, from President Obasanjo's time, late President Yar'Adua trying to cancel and start from the scratch. Then we got to see what President Goodluck Jonathan has done. Presently, we have so many structures in place. How best can we see this government deliver on its promise in good time?
Okay, I'll tell you. First of all, they should consolidate on what is on the ground by trying to finish the NIPP programs and things like that. Then we should diversify our energy mix. The whole of the north, from northwest to northeast, have no reason for relying on oil or gas. There are technologies now that can make them to produce electricity using concentrated solar power. And the insolation in the north, from northwest to the northeast, supports that. You can have the equivalent of EGMI across the north, and they will be generating. And you can also decide, within the framework of distributed generation, they have their own network too, which can assist us.
That would still cost $5 billion
No.
for 5,000 megawatts?
No, that probably, within the next 4 years, you might be able to add between 2,000 and 3,000 megawatts.
Within the next 3-4 years?
Yes, because, I mean, the issue of technology has to do with how do you deliver, you know. But let me quickly talk about the other aspect of renewable, and that is the ocean thermal energy system, which will favor most of the coastal states. I think we should start exploring that too, because that is a multi-product technology that for every 100 megawatts, you have 100 million liters per day of potable water. You generate a lot of salt for export. You can produce hydrogen for hydrogen fuel cell, which is the fuel for the future. You can generate ammonia from the sea for fertilizer. You can produce jet fuel. So these are products that I think we have to start looking at beyond oil and gas to fetch us the the foreign exchange for development projects in the country.
All right, but before we wrap up, I mean, realistically, how much power can be added in 1 year?
It depends. You know, as an engineer, I don't speculate. I think there is need for a group to get together, have a master plan for the country in line with trying to make sure that everybody gets some kind of reliable power supply. Right. But I will not speculate because it takes time. When you conceive of a power project, it might take 3, 5, 7 years, depending on whether it's hydro or thermal or renewable. But there are new technologies that can fast-track things.
All right, Prof, we will get across to you in the days ahead so that we can dwell more on this, because we're completely out of time today. Professor David Aderibigbe is a professor of mechanical engineering, University of Lagos. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
We'll return in just a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back. Well, yes, indeed, that's the show today. But Channels Television was supposed to bring you the coverage of the proceedings in the National Assembly. That's what we set out to do today live. But at the moment, we have not been allowed access to the National Assembly. So we'll keep tabs with our correspondents there. Our crew are on the ground waiting for that clearance so that they can go in and set up for the transmission. So that's the situation at the moment, but just watch the space. We hope that they will do the right thing and allow access so that you can see how it turns out. Well, that's where we'll end the program here today. We thank you all for watching and for sending in your comments as well. We'll see you next time. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
Thank you. I'm Maokwe Ogun.
Many thanks. I'm Sulaiman Alede.
Goodbye.